Alright guys, continuing on with the tournament now, up against a friend of mine, Andrew, who participates in a regular gaming group that I see on Tuesday nights, and this guy's playing with his Mercenaries. So he's got Durgen and Ashlyn, and his lists are full of infantry, and in particular this Durgen list he's got Kayazy Assassins, which obviously you can set up with primed. He's got the Nyss Hunters, and Durgen himself obviously really awesome with his gun, and eEiryss. So, you know, even though I'm on a roll with Cassius, just doing so well with Cassius at the moment, I figured if I did run Cassius here, the Kayazy Assassins would run straight at me with the primed, the Nyss Hunters would always be able to shoot at the tree, and Durgen himself spraying me with AoEs, boosted, all that sort of stuff. Cassius would probably go down in flames. But Kromac's not necessarily going to fare any better. I mean, this is actually a very bad matchup for me in general, but decided to try it with Kromac just on the off chance that I might be able to assassinate Durgen or get the Warpwolf Stalkers up into his infantry and shred them all without, you know, losing them, which would be, you know, really lucky if that happens, but I've got to try. So here's the deployment. The scenario is Incursion. That might actually work in my favour if I can actually clear all of his troops around an objective and get a point. I can then sort of play for the scenario when later in the game. Next image, let's have a little bit of a look at his army. He's also got a prime version of pAlexia with all of her thralls, and that's going to be a pain, just moving up the middle. Then I've got the one Jack, so I don't really have to sort of send in a big heavy and trade with the Jack early on. I can just sort of ignore him because he's quite slow. But eEiryss there as well in the middle. Next photo, I've actually got the first turn here, so moving one of the Warpwolves on the right-hand flank behind the building just to shield it from the Nyss Hunter shooting, and it'll be able to teleport up to the nearest flag. Whereas on the left-hand side I've got the Warpwolf Stalker with Wild Aggression and put Invulnerable Resolve on the Pureblood in the middle, with the Cloud going up just for a little bit of protection against possibly Durgen, and the Blackclad going on the left over there just to maybe contest the flag. Next photo, Durgen's troops moving up, just, you know, as expected, running everything straight forward. He's really going to be putting the pressure on early, and that's what I was afraid of. It's going to be a bit rough. Durgen here actually shooting his gun towards my lines, but luckily for me, scattering backwards and not hurting anything. So, dodging an early bullet, but there'll be more of them to come in future turns. Next image, teleporting the Warpwolf Stalker out and killing several of the Nyss Hunters, although I've decided to stay in combat here just so he's got a little bit of protection. What I expect my opponent to try and do here is actually move one of the Nyss Hunters out of combat and then shoot the Warpwolf, or alternatively put primed on them and actually charge the Warpwolf with all five. And with their Weapon Master swords, probably tear him to bits, but if I'm lucky he might fail some of his attack rolls. Next image, Pureblood moving up and spraying against eEiryss with his 10-inch spray, actually killing her. Actually, no, I ended up missing her, sorry. So, although I attempted that, didn't quite pull it off this time. And Kromac up front there with one transfer. Not too worried about losing Kromac at this point, but, you know, if he gets worn down later in the game or if my beasts get injured, then obviously he's going to be vulnerable to ranged assassination. Next image, the Blackclad moving over to the left there just to contest the objective. With the scenario, one flag is removed randomly after both players have had a turn. In this case, it happened to be the middle flag removed, so I was going to have to split my two Stalkers between the two flags. I would have preferred not to have had to do that, but, you know, just my bad luck that that particular flag disappeared, so things are already beginning to go against me a little bit. Next image, for some reason he's actually run eEiryss all the way over to my lines here, so it gives me an opportunity to either rock hammer him with the Stonekeeper or just to move the Pureblood over and actually attack her. In the meantime, pAlexia sending some Thrall warriors towards my lines here with their big choppy swords, so I've already dealt with one of them with a rift from Kromac, but she'll keep sending them. Next image, luckily for me, the Warpwolf Stalker has survived the attacks from the Nyss Hunters, and I think the main mistake which really cost me here is that in my following turn I forgot to use Kromac to actually heal up his crippled spirit aspect, because I could have actually chopped them down straight away to avoid taking more damage from the Stalker, so that would have been really awesome if he'd managed to pull that off, but it didn't. So a little bit of a sort of dropping the ball under pressure here. Next image, on the other hand, on the other flank, not quite so straightforward. The Kayazy assassin's getting primed and charging the Stalker and wiping him out with their mini feat, also killing the Blackclad Wayfarer. But luckily for me, he didn't actually leave one of the models in base-to-base with the flag, so he wasn't actually able to collect a point here. But looks like the game quickly going downhill as I expected it to, because I can't actually stop him from scoring points off this flag now. Next image, trying to mount a counterattack here. This Stalker barely survives the Nyss Hunters miraculously and actually wipes all of them out. The Pureblood has received Primal, has gone and charged the Driller and wrecked it. So I actually pick up a control point here. I'm actually leading 1-0, so if the TO came over and called dice down here to end the game, I'd actually win. So, you know, it's tempting to sort of go take a half-hour toilet break or whatever, but you just can't do that in Steamroller. It's not really fair. So I played, you know, just as I normally would without taking regard to that, and let's see how it goes. But what ended up happening is that because Kromac is actually situated just to the bottom of this photo, you know, below where that shifting stone is, if you can see slightly poking out the bottom of the photo horizon, Durgen then moved over and shot Kromac, and Holt also shot Kromac, and pAlexia, you know, shot Kromac. And Kromac was destroyed because the Pureblood is maxed out with Fury, and he actually destroyed the Warpwolf Stalker with the help of Dougal in that same turn. So it ended up being a loss for me. 2 losses with Kromac. You see the trend, you know, 3 wins with Cassius, but you know, realistically, you've got to look at it, you know, from the perspective that if I'd taken Cassius, it would have been even more difficult to beat this list. So just really a bad draw for me, but hopefully I can, you know, scavenge back some wins later in the tournament. But this really eliminates me from the runnings to top 3 probably. But we'll see you guys soon.